Jeffrey Ong sekarang ini perlu pantas bergerak. Jeffrey Ong dikejar Richard Sambera, tetapi sekarang ini sudah pasti Jeffrey Ong dengan masuk.
Catatan yang dilakukan oleh Jeffrey Ong 15 minit 56.
Kian menghampiri peluang untuk Nurul. 25 meter lagi. Nurul kian menghampiri Alpera dan peluang untuknya untuk memotong Alpera.
Nurul Huda Abdullah melambai tangan kepada peminat. Dengan emas yang kelima.
They were mere children sent out to do adult jobs.
Of course, as a kid, it's our motivation and our concentration is not as much as an adult, not as developed as an adult.
It's an amazing feeling to be selected and represent your country.
It was an era when Malaysian swimmers dominated the pool in the SEA Games. Between just the two of them, Nurul Huda Abdullah and Jeffrey Ong hold a whopping 49 medals in their international swimming career, and even national records which are yet to be broken.
And at that time, my goal was to win 8 medals.
Hi, I'm Jeff. I just had the talent, I had the technique, I put in the training, so it really there's no shortcut to success.
Good luck for tonight. Good to see you. Year upon year upon year, we did not have any family holidays at all. It was just swimming, swimming, swimming.
Nurul Huda Abdullah and Jeffrey Ong were Malaysia's swimming champions. So, 1986, the Asian Games. The women's 200 meters freestyle final. 14-year-old Nurul Huda Abdullah is representing Malaysia. Up to now, no Malaysian woman has ever won an Asian Games swimming medal. Nurul is attempting to be the first.
My goal for that particular Asian Games was to win a medal and in particular a gold medal.
The expectations on Nurul are very high, especially because of her SEA Games victories and records in Bangkok a year earlier. But Nurul is used to this, because swimming is all she has known from the age of 4. It was here at the Royal Selangor Golf Club in Kuala Lumpur that 4-year-old Nurul Huda Abdullah and her younger brother Razmi were introduced to swimming. Nurul learns quickly, and by the age of 7 is already a swimming champion at the RSGC. About the same time in Penang, a young boy about Nurul's age is getting his feet wet, literally.
My parents made sure we took lessons at an early age. We were at the Penang Swimming Club taking lessons. We'd go to the beach on weekends, Batu Fringhi, and it was just really fun. So it was more about a life skill and water safety rather than about being a competitive swimmer.
You know, you play around in the sea, so it was just part of your life. You didn't think twice about it, it just seemed a natural progression, as it were, because my dad was always very active.
Jeffrey and Angelia come from a family of swimmers.
My father was a swimmer. He represented Chinese Swimming Club Penang in the 1950s, competing against the Chinese Swimming Club Singapore at that time.
We had to train really early in the morning before school. I think that's the hard part, managing how do you balance school as well as your homework and studies as well as training. You would have to wake up really early.
As it turns out, Jeffrey's sisters Angelia and Katrina also become national swimmers, with Katrina crowned national sportswoman in 1980.
Hi, DJ. How are you?
For Jeffrey, it is coach Lim Boon Lee at the Chinese Swimming Club Penang who first recognizes his talent for competitive swimming.
When I was about 11 years old, I decided to focus on swimming. So I started swimming in club galas, swam for my school in the MSSPP competitions, then represented my club, then my state, then it was national age groups, then ASEAN interclub competitions. So really it was a step-by-step process.
If you want to excel in a particular sport, you have to give it your whole heart, your whole soul, your whole focus in that area. You have to give it that 100%. There's no such thing as, 50%. There's no such thing.
For 10-year-old Nurul, however, it is already time to play with the big girls.
I had a good foundation when I started learning to swim. It was very important when I started learning to swim and in those first few years to have a good technique in swimming. So I believe that's one of the things that carried me through because, if a swimmer doesn't start with that good or efficient technique, it's very hard for them. I mean, yes, they will improve, but I don't believe that they will, reach their full potential of what they can actually achieve.
In 1983, while already studying in Australia, Nurul represents Malaysia in her first SEA Games in Singapore. She enters just 2 events, finishing 4th in the 400 meters individual medley final and last in the 800 meters freestyle final. But just 2 years later, Nurul Huda Abdullah would become a Southeast Asian swimming sensation. By the age of 10, Nurul Huda Abdullah is already making waves in international swimming. Although she doesn't win any medals in her maiden SEA Games in 1983, Malaysian coaches and officials quickly see great potential in the young athlete. 1985, the Bangkok SEA Games. Nurul, who is now 13, is competing in a record 9 events.
My goal for the 1985 SEA Games was to win medals. And at that time, my goal was to win 8 medals. So that was the particular goal that I had. 8 goals in 8 different events. So once I had set that goal, so then I knew how to work backwards to see how I could achieve that goal,
It's a mammoth task for pint-sized Nurul, who has to compete against more senior and experienced swimmers.
I had to be able to race in different strokes. I needed to be able to race across different distances, from sprints as well as to longer distance. So because of that, my training changed accordingly to meet those particular goals that I wanted to achieve.
Nurul scores in all her 9 events, 7 gold, 1 silver and a bronze. It's an astounding victory for her and the country, as no Malaysian had yet won 9 medals in a single international tournament.
As a person, it's not possible to give 100% all the time. There will always be lapses in concentration, there will always be lapses in how you feel, body-wise, health-wise, things like that. But as long as you give it your all and you know that, before you step on the blocks and you know that in preparation for that competition, you gave it 100%, as much as you can give, then yeah, you should be fully satisfied with what you can achieve.
By 1985, 13-year-old Jeffrey Ong, who is now schooling in the UK, develops a natural affinity for 2 events.
I had an aptitude for the 1500 freestyle, the long distance events. When you train for 1500, you also can do the 400 freestyle. So I was training for 400 and 1500 freestyle from a quite early age, around 13 years old or so.
While Jeffrey continues to do well in junior championships both locally and abroad, Nurul is preparing for her first Asian Games.
For the Asian Games at that time, there were no swimmers from Malaysia that had actually won any medals before in the Asian Games. So that was my goal for that particular Asian Games, was to win a medal, and in particular a gold medal.
Nurul, now 14, is competing in 4 events.
I had to specialize in the events a bit more and choose which events that gave me a greater chance of winning a medal in that particular event. So at that time, it was determined that the freestyle events, the 2, 4, and 800 would be, would give me the better chance of winning medals.
The first is the 400 meters individual medley. She wins the bronze and becomes the first Malaysian to win an Asian Games swimming medal. Next, it's the final of the 200 meters freestyle. Although it is not an event that Nurul focused on, the gold is almost within her reach. But she loses the race by just a fraction of a second and finishes third. Nurul goes on to win the silver in both the 400 and 800 meters freestyle. Nurul becomes the first Malaysian female swimmer to win 2 silver and 2 bronze at the Asian Games. 1987, Jakarta. It is 15-year-old Jeffrey Ong's first SEA Games. Jeffrey wins the gold in both the 400 meters and the 1,500 meters freestyle. The first Malaysian male swimmer to win a SEA Games gold.
More than 20 years, our main event never get a goal. So that's why only that time we only 14 and under.
And that year, Jeffrey is also voted the most promising Malaysian sportsman of the year. As expected, Nurul wins medals in all her 8 events, 7 gold and a silver.
It helped having my coach there to motivate me as well. It helped having my mom there to help motivate me as well, to continue to encourage and motivate me. And it also helped having my team members, that my training partners that I trained with, because we all sort of work together as a team to bring each other up.
And in 1988, they both give sterling performances at the Asian Championships in Guangzhou. Podium finishes for all the events they competed. Nurul wins 2 silver and a bronze, while Jeffrey wins the silver in both his favoured events. The victories assure the 2 teenagers of a place in the 1988 Seoul Games, their first ever.
So competing in the Olympics is an amazing feeling. There's nothing like it. Having not been to many swimming competitions internationally, I suddenly went to SEA Games, and then within a year I was in Asian Swimming Championships and the Olympics. So literally in the span of 12 months, I'd gone to SEA Games, Asian Swimming Championships and the Olympics.
1988 will also be remembered as an historic year for Malaysian swimming, as both Nurul and Jeffrey win the coveted National Sportswoman and Sportsman Awards respectively.
Tremendous year for me and very memorable, and it was truly an honor to be in the Olympics and also be Sportsman of the Year.
Again, at the 1989 KL SEA Games, both of them used their home ground advantage to excel in their events.
We have some especially exceptionally talented athletes. So during '89 we have Nurul, Huda, Jeffrey Ong and all those good swimmers, and Kumarasan cyclists, so we did well.
Nurul wins 8 gold and 2 silver, while Jeffrey bags gold in both the 400 and 1,500 meters freestyle. Nurul is also voted Best Female Athlete of the 1989 Games. But just a year later, her fortunes begin to change, and she makes a dramatic decision that will shock the swimming fraternity and the whole nation. By the end of the 1980s, Jeffrey Ong is voted one of the best Malaysian male swimmers of the decade, while Nurul Huda Abdullah is proclaimed Southeast Asia's swimming queen. But in 1990, Nurul gets a new coach who introduces her to a different training program. This and other factors affect her performance at the 1990 Beijing Asian Games. Nurul doesn't win any medal at the Games. Malaysia is shocked. Although only 18, Malaysia's swimming queen retires. But for Jeffrey Ong, it's a different story. His star begins to shine even brighter at the Beijing Asian Games. He wins the silver in the 1,500 meters and becomes the first Malaysian to do so. And a year later, Jeffrey scores an historic victory that goes down in the history books.
I knew that I had this ability to swim well in the 1500, and I wanted to prove it in the student games. That was the big meet for the year, apart from the SEA Games in Manila at the end of 1991.
1991, the World Student Games, Sheffield, England. Jeffrey wins the silver in the 1,500 meters and sets a new Malaysian record. It is also an Asian record and makes him the 14th fastest swimmer in the world.
Back then, we didn't have many Malaysians who achieved that level of success. Since then, we've had some, but it was just an amazing experience to be able to be one of the pioneers in swimming, to be at the world level and have such, like be in the top 20.
And in his final SEA Games in Singapore in 1993, Jeffrey sets a new national record in the 400 meters individual medley. In all, Jeffrey represents Malaysia in 4 SEA Games, 2 Olympics and the Commonwealth Games, among others, winning 15 international medals, 9 gold, 5 silver and a bronze. And his national record in the 1,500 meters still stands today, 30 years later.
Feels great to be back at the club where it all started after all these years. Lots of fond memories of spending time here, spending weekends here, learning to swim here. So this is really where it all started. Hi everyone. Hi, I'm Jeff. Hi. Hello. You all know who this gentleman is? Lee. He was my
Nurul's swimming achievements are simply extraordinary. In just 8 years of competition, she was national sportswoman 5 consecutive times. In 1987, at only 15, she won the International Olympic Council's Award for Women in Sport. She is the first Southeast Asian swimmer to break both the 60-second mark for the 100 meters freestyle and the 5-minute mark for the 400 meters individual medley.
What do I think? I always tell my kids that's my superhero power, in that I was a swimmer and I was able to win so many medals.
Until today, she is the only Malaysian to have won 22 gold medals in international competition and a record 34 medals overall.
It took a lot of work from so many areas, from so many people for me to be able to achieve that. So I don't believe that success is just mine only. It's something that to be shared with my coach, with my family, because there were a lot of sacrifices that had to be made.
Tidak menyangka bahawa satu
So looking back at my career, I had an amazing experience. To me, it's all about the memories of the competitions, the friends I made, the effect I had on the Malaysian public. Even today, science people still recognize me or they remember who I am. Maybe not as familiar as I was 28 years ago, but you know, there's still a recognition and an appreciation, because when you're an athlete and you sacrifice so much, the hard work, the blood, sweat and tears, people realize that there's a lot of effort that goes into it, and when you represent the country, they feel very proud and they really feel like we did something for the country.
Nurul and Jeffrey are still only 2 of 4 Malaysian swimmers who have ever won medals in the Asian Games.
I just had the talent, I had the technique, I put in the training, so it really, there's no shortcut to success. You have to work hard. I put in the hours in the pool, in the gym. I had the mental fortitude to be able to succeed in swimming, and I had a lot of talent.
In 2017, Nurul and Jeffrey were invited together with former national athletes to carry the SEA Games Federation flag at the Kuala Lumpur Games opening ceremony. And more recently, Nurul was appointed Deputy Chef de Mission of the 2019 Manila SEA Games contingent.
Ever since I've come back into the public focus again, I think a lot of Malaysians, they want to have that idol to look up to, they want that person to inspire them. So, which is why I've decided to come back into swimming, so that I can give back to the sport, to help develop the younger junior swimmers, to help encourage and motivate our more senior swimmers. And I hope my experience and what I've achieved will help to inspire them as well.
Both Nurul and Jeffrey have been inducted into the Olympic Council of Malaysia Hall of Fame. The 1980s and 1990s will remain Malaysia's golden era of swimming. And the names Nurul Huda Abdullah and Jeffrey Ong will be etched forever in the annals of Malaysia's swimming glory.
Looking back 30 years now, since my last SEA Games, then yes, of course, to look back at the magnitude of what I did achieve, it's remarkable. Yeah, it is remarkable. And talking to my kids about it, sometimes I think that they don't really believe me, that they don't believe that I managed to do all those things at such a young age.
That little boy knew he could become state champion or club champion, and then eventually a Malaysian age group winner, and then SEA Games. It was a step-by-step thing, but I believed in myself. And I think if we all believe in ourselves and put our mind on things that we want to do, we can actually achieve so much.